Welcome, focused learners, to today's explainer. Look, if you've ever felt like your attention span is, well, shorter than a 10-second social media dams, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're taking some incredibly practical source material and translating it into a structured visual playbook for building distraction-free study endurance. We're going to figure out exactly how to sit down, lock in, and make actual progress for hours like a laser-focused monk, even if your brain currently feels completely allergic to discipline. Let's just be real for a second. When it comes down to it, who wins? Your brain or your phone? I mean, your brain genuinely wants to study, but your phone desperately wants your attention. And guess who usually wins? Hint, it's the one that vibrates in your pocket and conveniently rhymes with doom scroll. But why does it always win? So here's the crucial point, and honestly, this is a total paradigm shift. Most of us think we have a focus problem, a lack of willpower or discipline, but actually, scratch that, it's a total myth. The reality is you just have a setup problem. You don't lack motivation, you're just trying to work in an environment that is literally designed to distract you. To fix that, here is the exact roadmap for our explainer today. 1. The setup problem. 2. The anti-distraction bubble. 3. The 52-17 rhythm. 4. The one-tab rule. 5. Brain fuel and specificity. And 6. Systems over motivation. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the setup problem. Let's look at the chaotic, honestly painful reality of sitting down to study with absolutely zero preparation. Picture this. You sit down at your desk, you've got like 73 tabs open on your browser, your DMs are blowing up, and your brain whispers that fatal little lie, let's just check Instagram for 1 minute, right? Well, spoiler alert, that 1 minute instantly devolves into a 47-minute rabbit hole researching why pigeons bob their heads when they walk. We have absolutely all been there. And it happens because we didn't prepare our environment before we demanded our brain to get to work. Which brings us to section 2, the anti-distraction bubble. If you actually want to study for the long haul, you've got to kill the chaos before it even starts. Step 1 is complete physical and digital separation. Use blocker apps like Forest, Cold Turkey, or Freedom to ruthlessly block digital junk on your devices. Take your physical phone and put it in a completely different room. And just as importantly, you have to manage the people around you. You need to formally declare what the source material calls monk mode. Literally tell your household, hey, I'm going in a monk mode. Disturb me only if there's cake or if there is a fire. You have to set that boundary. Moving right along to section 3, the 52-17 rhythm. Okay, once your bubble is built, you need to completely scrap the idea of marathon 3-hour study sessions. Seriously, your brain's fuel tank just doesn't work that way, and trying to force it will only lead to a massive burnout. Instead, you want to aim for a massive 52-minute chunk of full unbroken focus, followed immediately by a 17-minute guilt-free break. And during those 17 minutes, step away entirely. Stretch, breathe, hydrate, or, dance like nobody's watching. And hey, if someone is watching, just own it. And this brilliantly illustrates why this specific breakdown works. It's all about the number 52. Turns out, studying for 52 minutes syncs up perfectly with your brain's natural ultradian rhythm. Remember, you're not a robot, you are a rhythm machine. When you sync with that biological rhythm, you focus deeper, you study longer, and you actually remember way more of what you read. Next up, section 4, the one-tab rule. All right, now that our time is structured, here is the absolute new law of your workspace. One subject, one tab, one mission. Why so incredibly strict? Because of a massive, pretty shocking statistic. 40%. If you're researching biology, but you also have a tab open ranking the top 10 Marvel villains, your brain is already checked out. Studies show that task switching, bouncing back and forth between different tabs and contexts, destroys up to 40% of your productive time. You are actively making yourself slower and way more exhausted by leaving those tabs open. The fix for this is incredibly simple. Just aggressively close the extras. Go full screen on the one document or article you actually need. You literally have to pretend that this is the only page on the entire internet. Give your brain absolutely nowhere else to wander. Section 5, brain fuel and specificity. Because look, no matter how amazing your digital setup is, you literally cannot run on raw brain power alone. Let's walk through your fuel sources. For smart snacks, you want to rely on water, nuts, dark chocolate, blueberries, and maybe the occasional study cookie. But notice, the source points out it must be an earned cookie, not a stolen one. On the flip side, beware of bad fuel. Dehydration will just make you tired and cranky. And while caffeine feels like your best friend, if you overdo it, it very quickly becomes an enemy that makes you anxious and completely incapable of deep focus. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we fuel the mind through specificity. Check out the difference in approaches here. A vague goal sounds like, I'm going to study math today. Well, that's a mystery, not a mission. A ruthless goal is, finish Chapter 3 Integration Basics by 5 p.m. Giving your brain a highly specific finish line prevents it from wandering off and asking huge existential questions like, what even is math anyway? And finally, Section 6, Systems over Motivation. Let's be totally honest with ourselves here. Even with all these amazing tools, you are absolutely still going to get distracted sometimes. You'll open YouTube just to check something quick and bam, you accidentally fall into a black hole of productivity videos. When that happens, please don't beat yourself up because of our core philosophy here. Focus is a skill, not a switch. You can't just flip it on. Every single time you catch yourself and pull your attention back from a distraction, you are training your focus just like a muscle. If you want to do something extraordinary, like acing your exams or building your dream life, you have to get really, really good at doing boring things for long periods. That is your absolute superpower in a highly distracted world. So let's see how this all builds into our final playbook. 1. Build the bubble. 2. Stick to the 52-17 rhythm. 3. Enforce the one-tab rule. 4. Fuel like a genius. And 5. Get ruthlessly specific. Remember, you do not need more motivation. You just need this better system. Be the one who locks in when everyone else flakes out. Which leaves us with one final, super important question. Are you ready to build your anti-distraction bubble and step into deep focus? Stop procrastinating, lock in, and leverage these new systems to totally level up your study game today. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go build your bubble and ask yourself, once you completely master your own attention, what else becomes possible?